one. You are live, you are live.
Hello everyone, and I'm just going to creep forward a bit. These impala are ever so slowly browsing out of our view, and I'm really looking forward to my final afternoon and drive with all of you on this live safari. And I couldn't have asked for a better camera lady than Nicola Austin, who I'm teamed up with today. So awesome stuff, Nicki. Good to have you on the back. And we are going to be having some fun this afternoon. We've got exciting plans, and we're going to head over towards where Karula, a female leopard, had her kill. Interestingly enough, it sounds like she's moved her cubs away from that kill. So she was seen moving quite far south away from that kill, moving her cubs away, which is a clever move on her behalf, because a hyena came into that area last night. Now, I'm guessing she's going to have nestled the two little cubs somewhere safe, and she's going to probably have come back, or possibly have come back for a meal. So we're going to head across there. It's a very hot afternoon. It's 32 degrees Celsius, which is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. So not expecting huge amounts of action from the cats early on, but that may well change a little bit later. We've got Jamie out in the other vehicle, and she's teamed up with Wium on camera. And for those of you who may be joining for the first time, it will sadly be the first and last time with me as your guide, as I'm going to be leaving along with Nicki, who's been a director here. And she's just getting an afternoon out behind the camera to change things up a little bit. It's happened a couple of times. This will literally be, I think, the third time. So we're really excited about that, but do forgive her if she has any shaky camera moments. And my name is Scott, which is useful if you haven't met before. We've got a whole big bunch of giraffe tracks on the road here, and you can see them all littering the road, heading down in that direction. And off those go. Very good. So we may bump into some giraffe, which would be great. Hello to Ginger, Barbara, and Joyce, who are all looking forward to their last drive with me. Thank you so much for those kind words, and I am told many, many others. So apologies if we haven't mentioned your name. It certainly is bittersweet. We have both loved every second of our SafariLIVE experience, and a lot of you have been there. A lot of you have been here since long before I started and or Nicki started, and we feel really privileged to have spent the time here, but are excited for whatever future travels we end up doing. And I certainly want everyone on board to try and be as happy as possible. There's no reason not to be. And please let us know your thoughts and comments and questions, and to do so, it's very simple. You can hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Awesome. Now, something that's also going to happen this afternoon, we're just going to test drive it and see how Nicki copes, but she is going to jump behind the wheel and I'm going to jump behind the camera. So if any of you would like to send some questions through for Nicki to answer, please do so, and you'll get to hear her thoughts about that later. So that's also something exciting. That will be a SafariLIVE first. Nicki has never been behind the driver's wheel. She's often said that she's excited to do it, so today is the test of time. Very happy memory on this termite mound. Some of you will remember it was my first afternoon back from leave. I think it was the last leave, and we were driving down this road. Just as we were, I'm going to just reverse and simulate as we saw her from about here, just perched right on the side of the mound there. and then she continued across the road and did some stalking and hunting of impalas. Just going to check something on Nicki's camera quickly. Is that iris on auto? Yeah. Bang that up a little bit. With the bright glare, it's appeared like Nicki's shot was a little bit bright. There we go. The cameramen have been teaching me a few of their tricks as they go. Very good. Okay, well, we are going to be sending you across to Jamie Patterson so she can let you know her plans. We'll probably be about 4 or 5 minutes until we get to the position where Karula has left a young kudu hoisted up in a tree, and let's hope that she's going to be there waiting for us when we get there. Time will tell. Off to Jamie.
And a very good afternoon to all of you. And on this very sad last day for all of us here at WildEarth, for Scott and Nicki, it does hold exciting prospects for both of them, so we shall try not to weep too much on our drive. But definitely a very sad moment for all of us. And I hope that Karula does decide to come out so that Scott can bid her farewell for now. A temporary goodbye, I hope. In the meantime, this afternoon, I'm following up on reports of the Nkahuma Pride that apparently, according to Scott, when he was out on tracking team with Nicki, their tracks were around Red Dam on Arathusa. Now, they tried to follow up. They didn't have any luck. I'm going to try and see if on this blistering hot 32-degree, 89-degree Fahrenheit day, there might be any sign of lions sleeping in the shade. Because if I were a lion, that is exactly what I would be doing. Oh, Red Dam. Not so much red as very bright, almost virulent green from the algae sitting across the top of it. Let's see, did we see lions in the shade? Apparently they didn't cross into Simbambili. They were around here somewhere, so keep your eyes peeled for flicking ears and flicking tails. That would be a nice afternoon start. Let's pop our noses down. See if we can see at least some sign of their tracks, or maybe where they decided to walk off to after they had a drink. Down we go. This is the first time, actually, that I've driven Wendy in... I've been trying to work it out. I think the last time I drove Wendy was Big Cat Week, so it's nice to be back on board as well. Just checking very carefully in the shade. I don't want to risk losing your signal by going all the way to the back. On days like today, tawny shapes of lions hidden and lying down in the shade can be tricky things to spot. But I think our next step, well done, Wendy. Our next step is to go and check the drainage lines, see if we can find them in the shade. So for new viewers, when I talk about the Nkahuma Pride, I'm talking about a pride of 5 lionesses, 2 adults and a sub-adult that I think has nearly earned classification as an adult. She's coming up to about, I would say, probably about 2.5, 3. So she'll be having her first litter of cubs in the next year or so and officially graduate into adulthood. Apparently, while I was away, you all got to finally see one of the Birmingham boys as well. They've been spending plenty of time around cheetah plains. One of them decided to pop onto Juma and come and visit. Just checking very carefully down in the shade in the drainage line. As I said, it is blisteringly hot. There's a little bit more groundwater than there was when I left, so they might have decided to move on further. But I'm hoping they've stuck around this area. Doesn't seem as though they have crossed into Simbambili. These drainage line systems are a perfect hiding place for cats to lie in the shade. Wium and I were just talking about the one afternoon that we shared around at Red Dam, which I still think has to be one of my most incredible sightings to date, which was when Karula and Tingana were mating here a couple of months ago. And the Salala pride were actually feeding off a buffalo carcass that had fallen into the drainage line. And Tingana and Karula had originally been feeding on that, so the two mating leopards had originally been scavenging that carcass. And they decided to make their way back there after morning spent mating, and they weren't really paying attention, and there was a very, very close call between a Tingana and Karula and the young Salala lion males. And they chased Karula up into the tree, the knobthorn around Red Dam. It's quite a fascinating sighting. It was very stressful for a brief moment. Luckily, the leopards, despite the number of distractions around, were on their toes and aware of what was going on around them. Come on, Nkuhumas. Lots of water here. The other thing about being away for a while is that you sort of lose track as to what's going on with the animals. Usually when we're out every day, twice a day, you're aware of, for example, when the Nkuhumas are looking hungry or when they're very full, if they're going to be hunting and taking the opportunity, or if they're just going to settle and spend their day lying up in the shade somewhere. At the moment, I don't know exactly how hungry the Nkuhumas are when last they ate. I'm also checking the area quite carefully for any predatory birds, so birds of prey, as well as vultures. And if we see any of them sitting in the trees, either with leaves or on the dead trees, and patiently watching the ground below them, then we'll know that that's where the Nkuhumas are hiding. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, don't forget this is live, so you just never know what to expect around the next corner. And don't forget to also send through your questions on hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Surprised by the amount of water here. Obviously, I missed out on some rather serious rain. Hello, waterbuck. Looking a little bit nervous. See if I can catch up with this waterbuck. She trotted away fairly quickly. There she is. Hey, girl. I thought maybe she was looking a bit jumpy and a bit nervous, but it was just because she wanted to cross the road ahead of us, I think. You saw that giant buffalo herd with James this morning. Buffalo herd is not a quiet thing. So I think if we don't have any luck around Red Dam, we might want to try and follow up on those buffalo and see whether the lions haven't decided to come and have a go and try and follow them for later this evening. In the meantime, while I continue my search for the Nkuhumas, let's cross back over to the gorgeous Scott Dyson and gorgeous Nicki Austin and find out what they're up to.
Welcome back. Now, somewhere in this beautiful big jackalberry tree, I'm told, is a kudu carcass. It initially looked like a impala kill, but James tells me that it was in fact a kudu. So at first glance it doesn't look like anything's in there. Let's take a closer look. And we want to check kind of in the forks of the trees. That's where something will probably be wedged, maybe a little bit lower down. I don't know. It'll be quite hard. Oh, what's that there? There we go. There you can ever so vaguely make out a hoof. And great work on your focusing there, Nix. That was your first real challenge of the afternoon. And there you can see the tiny little hoof of an unfortunate kudu. Now, I thought that we'd come down here. We are down in the riverbed, and I thought I'd come down here because I thought maybe we'd find Karula sleeping in the cool, shady areas in front of us here. No sign of her, though, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue around, and she could be lying up on the bank somewhere. Yesterday afternoon, I know she was lying up on the bank. I think somewhere right up there where you're looking now. At least when I popped in very briefly yesterday afternoon, that is where we saw her lying down. I wonder where the cubs were. They were somewhere here. There's 2 tiny new cubs and some perfect hiding places in there. Little gaps in the roots there. So they survived another night, and every single night that they do survive from here on in, they're going to be a lot closer to making it to adulthood. They've definitely survived out of probably the hardest few weeks of being a leopard cub, and those are the first few weeks. They're about 5-6 weeks old now. So Karula has been doing a good job keeping, and we are guessing that that is exactly why she was seen crossing south out of Djuma this morning, taking them somewhere safe. And I'm fairly certain she is going to come back into the area to continue snacking on the kudu. I don't think they would have been feeding on it just yet. They're a bit too young for that. Usually from about 2.5 to 3 months of age, leopard will start feeding on meat. At least that's what I've been told, and that's what I've seen in my history with them. But that is the beauty of being on safari, is that the animals often teach you new lessons. Squeeze tight, everyone. Okay, so now we are back up on the riverbed, or on the river bank rather. Let's take a close look around here. Hello to Country West, and thank you very much for sharing your first memory that you had with me, and that was on your first drive, obviously. And as we drove around a corner, we bumped into a big male lion. I'm guessing it was maybe one of the Matimba males, and ever since then you've been hooked, and that's such great news. Thank you for sharing that with me. And we've got some more great news. Nicki just smiled, pointing up ahead, and I think she may have seen something. Look who it is. It's Karula, the Queen of Djuma, panting very, very heavily. But I don't blame her. Like I said, it's an exceptionally hot and humid afternoon, and imagine having that beautiful coat to contend with in this weather. Okay, well, that's wonderful news. And now let's just try and get ourselves into a good spot. Now, I don't want to go too close to her. The fact that she's having to raise cubs at the moment is obviously tiring business, so she may be a little bit moody, that coupled with the heat. So we're just going to try and very slowly creep into a spot where we can get some. Nicki's just asked, is there no chance the cubs will be here? I mean, there is, but I think she was seen quite far away with them. Unless, of course, she was just taking them for a drink and she's brought them back, but I don't think that is the case. I'm quite surprised they were at the kill, because they are very young still to be at a kill. Okay, well, I'm just going to stop here. There are 1 or 2 branches in the way of her face, but she's lying up just there. And thankfully, Nicki's a little bit more elevated than me, and her face is in a perfect little gap of this buffalo thorn tree in the foreground. Hello, Jack. You would like to know if Karula isn't far out of her territory here. And no, Jack, I don't think so. Her territory basically encompasses the entire portion of Djuma, which is around 1,200 hectares. There's maybe small fringes of it that her daughter Shadow occupies, and maybe another female to the north. Unlike humans, who often have very square or defined properties, animals may be not so rigid, and I think that is certainly the case with her. Also, always changing, you know, depending on her needs and the needs of other leopards. There will be huge fluctuations in their territory over the years. But right now, we are fairly close to the central parts of Djuma, so she's comfortably within her territory, which is critical during this stage of her raising her cubs. It would be hugely unwise of her to try and raise cubs in another leopardess's territory, because if that other leopardess did come across her cubs, she would kill them. Speaking of which, next, are you fully zoomed there? I think you might be. I was just wondering if we couldn't see any possible nursing rings or suckle rings, but I certainly can see a nipple. It's just above the horizontal branch, very close to the kind of crook of her leg there. You can just see a very light caramel spot in that white fern. Within that there's a little nipple, but on a hot day like this, you may have found she's left the cubs early this morning, filled them up with milk, and then she subsequently come back here, and that's why her nursing rings may not be as evident at the moment, because they would have dried out and that fur would have unruffled itself and become a little bit more fluffy. Hello to Angie and Becky, and it's great to have you on board with us. You would like to know, how long will a leopardess leave its cubs for? It's a great question, and I fear that not many people actually know the correct answer to that, because as we've experienced with this fine mother, leopardess can be hugely extra secretive when they do have cubs, and therefore we don't know exactly what happens with them. But what I can tell you from my experience is that 12 hours to 24 hours is certainly a length of time that a leopardess may leave its cubs for. That's just my opinion. I have seen leopardess move a long distance away from cubs, make a kill, feed on that kill, stay there during the day if the kill was far from the den, in order to not waste energy backwards and forwards just in order to nurse the young. So they're tough little critters, leopard cubs, regarding how regularly they get fed, I think, because it's critical that she needs to look after herself first, as with any mother, and thereafter, once she's found a next meal that's going to sustain her, then she can worry about sustaining the cubs. So I think 12 to 24 hours at least. Sometimes you may find leopardess even pushing the envelope and maybe leaving them for longer. But I think a lot is unknown regarding these beasts, especially in the wild. Obviously, there may be captive records as to what goes on, but wild leopard, who have the hardships of trying to work out where their next meal is coming from, together with raising the cubs, is not easy, and you can go to sleep, Karula. You deserve a little snooze. Well, good news is that Quarantine, a previous offspring of this female leopard, who had a brother called Kunyuma, he's just been found by Andrew. And sadly, it's not on Djuma, a little bit to the east, away from us, but happy to hear that one of her 3-year-old sons is doing well. It sounds like he's made a kill as well. So mother and son are in a similar state this afternoon. Hello to Gada, and good to know you are watching. Gada, you've mentioned that the cubs are about 6 weeks old now, and would like to know if this is this age where she will start moving with them from the den. And Ger, I think she's been moving with them permanently from the day they were born. Not permanently, but, you know, I think she's had multiple den sites over the last few weeks. I may be wrong, but in those times the cubs will need to move from place to place, and she might carry one while the one walks. Let's see what happens here. Next we've got some little crested francolins on the scene. And they are heading towards her, and I think she's going to hear them, and we may see a second kill. Oh, no, next, let's check out what she's doing. Sorry, I'm whipping Nicki all over the show here. Oh, no, she's just turned around, turning her back to the francolin, so that's not what we wanted. But she is looking up into that tree, and maybe she's thinking of going for another meal. It's going to be interesting, though, when these crested francolin do see her. The kill's just up in that large tree over there somewhere. I don't think we can see it from here. So, yes, Ger, I think they would have been moving quite a bit up till this point. But like I say, it's just so hard to tell because we haven't seen her, so we don't know what she has been up to. Hello to Britt, who's just mentioned that this is Karula's tea party that she's thrown for Nicki and I after we threw a tea party for Gracie, who was in her very, very beautiful Cinderella dress yesterday for our tea party that we had at the Arathusa Air Traffic Control Tower. Yeah, the little crested francolins. And they seem to be sneaking past Karula unnoticed. Interestingly, I think Karula may perform for us shortly, so I want to get into position. She keeps looking longingly up into that tree. So let's see if we can't get into position and wait for her. Failing that, I mean, at least we'll be able to show you what remains of the kill if she doesn't decide to move up now. And while we go there, I'm just going to update the guys on the radio that she is in fact in this area.
Can I get an update? Good afternoon, vervets. Very much younger than I were foreigners.
We're going to have to do quite a big loop around. No, we won't, actually. We can squeeze through here. So we should get a very good view of this kill that she's made. She made it, for those of you who haven't seen any signs of this kill yet, or haven't joined in on one of the recent safaris, she made this kill sometime, not last night, the night before. She was found yesterday morning. And interestingly, she had dragged this kill at least 50 meters, at least, across a road all the way to this tree in specific. And we could see that drag mark in the sand, where she would have been holding the prey probably by its neck, and then the whole body dragging between her two front legs as she moved. Oof. It's not going to be easy to get you a gap from here. Let's see if we can snap a gap from over here. Whew, the kill's already very smelly. Hello, Betty and Virginia Nix. If you don't mind just turning the camera now so I can see if you're going to have a gap there. There we go. Oh. That was a stall into, I think, the perfect position. And there you can start to make out that lighter shade of coloration there. There's the kill. Not easy to see. There's not too much to see, although you can clearly see the fur there. There's a lot of meat left there, so that's good news for the Queen of Djuma. She's still got lots of food before she needs to worry about her next meal. Hello to Betty, who would like to know if there's any chance that the cubs will start trying to look for her. And I think it's highly unlikely that they would. I mean, those cubs that do, Betty, sadly are going to be the ones not to make it. So generally the process of evolution and genes and genetics will mean that the cubs that do try and perform those stunts are the ones that not make it, like I say. So they're probably just going to be quite well behaved. I'm hoping if they do make a noise and tumble about and roll around from side to side and fight with one another, that is going to create a lot of attention to them and could get them into trouble. I'm going to try and get that radio update through now. Earlier on there was a bit too much traffic on the airwaves. Stations Karula is on site at the Bamba off Twin Dams Road, south of Elephant Carcass.
Okay, copy that. Sometime it's just only one more of them.
Yeah, just myself here, Tax. There you can see a different angle of the kill.
Come and join you.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So, that's all that remains of the kill. I think we should also be able to get a gap of Karula from here. Maybe not, though. We shall see shortly. Ooh. I'm going to have to creep forward just a little bit. Not ideal, but that is the best we'll get for now. Now, there was a hyena in this area this morning. It could well have moved off and just banked the knowledge of the fact that there is a kill here. Obviously, tricky business for a hyena because it cannot climb a tree like this, so absolute torture. And it may be in a nearby mud wallow with the intentions of coming back this evening, and I'm almost certain that later on, as things cool off, there should be some more action here. Yes, Karula, I think some more hyena will be coming, sadly, but you've done a very good job and already got your kill safely hoisted up into the tree. Interestingly, I've spent time in areas where some leopards, one day they'll hoist, the next day they won't. Even with cubs, you know, they'll feed with their cubs on the ground, kill on the ground. Hugely dangerous scenario to be in. You've got your, you know, jaws crunching on bones and you've preoccupied on feeding. And that's when something sneaks up on you. But thankfully she hasn't made the same mistake, at least not today. Hello to Lenny in Pennsylvania. You are wondering about leopard cubs and their ability to survive, and whether or not they're learning, or the sooner they learn to climb a tree, will that kind of guarantee the fact that they'll be able to survive? Sadly not, Lenny. Even the little cubs that she has now probably will be able to climb, not very well though, and even from about 3 months of age, they can climb, and then they are going to be moving from kill to kill. So there they are, time after time, kill after kill. They are going to be exposed to the threats that are associated with kills, and they will be able to climb. But it's like being able to ride a bike during your first week. You may be able to consider yourself a bicycle rider, but not a very good one. And I think the same applies for leopard cubs. They can climb trees, but not very well, not as quickly as they would like. And I would say once a leopard cub is upwards of 6 months of age, then the future's beginning to look bright. But anything before that 6-month period is an absolute lottery. It's the odds are sadly stacked heavily against them up till that point. Obviously, every day up to that point, their chances of surviving increase. But only from about 6 months of age would I start being able to think, okay, there's a good chance that these are going to make it. Hello to JD in Maryland. You are wondering about the coloration of these animals, and now that we can see her lying on her side, she sticks out quite easily. And you're wondering, why doesn't her whole coat simply have that more mottled caramel gold coloration with the black rosettes as opposed to the white? And I think it's just, you know, they haven't had, oh, nice big yawn there. I just don't think they've got the reason or need to be able to cover that part of their body or conceal it or change its color, because when they are stalking their prey, that is flat to the ground. So when they are ever looking for food, those parts that ordinarily stick out when they're rolling on their back or lying on their side, they will never really give them away. So even though I guess it wouldn't hurt to just be the same color all around, it's not essential that they are. Ooh, you can probably hear me glugging on some ice-cold water. Ooh, it's very refreshing. Now it's Nicki's turn. That's why you can see the camera going up and down. She's trying to drink and camera lady at the same time. Hello to our beard, who would like to know, what is the biggest prey that a leopard would kill? Sure, I'm quite impressed with the kudu kill that she's made here, our beard. It's quite a big kill for a leopardess. Obviously, male leopards can make far bigger kills than female leopards. And this kudu, even though it's a youngster, it's not tiny. Difficult to tell from this angle, but it's not a newborn. Could be a couple of months old by now, judging by the angle that we're looking at it from. But yeah, I'd say something up to twice her size is definitely possible. Easily up to twice their body weight a leopard could take on. And not hugely different for the male leopards. I've seen male leopards with adult kudu kills, and an adult kudu will weigh upwards of 400 pounds, and a big male leopard will only weigh about 200 pounds on average. So they are said to be one of the strongest cats pound for pound, and I could agree with that. I mean, the mere fact that they can hoist kills of their own body weight, sometimes even slightly more, whilst carrying them in their mouth. I mean, imagine putting something heavy in your mouth, even if it was comfortable, a comfortable grip that you could chew onto, and then have this big weight hanging below your own body weight, and then even climb up a step ladder. I mean, think about that, and that's not going to require any skill. What did I just hear there? Did you hear that, Nix?
I think it was her.
I don't know if, as I turned around, she was completing a growl. Maybe she had a burp mid-growl.
I think it was a burp.
Yeah, it seemed like a burp mid-growl. She would have no reason to let off a growl, but I quickly turned around just to make sure we weren't getting on the wrong side of her. Just like humans, animals can sometimes be a little bit moody. But judging from her behavior now, it doesn't look like that's the case. I'm wondering if she wants to move, because as soon as she does move, and hopefully it's towards this tree to start feeding, we're going to need to reverse to get out the way. But I'm ready for that, so just to keep you guys updated with the plans, we're kind of currently in her way to the kill. She could obviously very easily get around us, but we don't want her to have to do any extra work. Kat in Tampa. Yes, it's not easy being a leopard mother. Imagine having to leave your newborn offspring away from you in such a dangerous place with no protection, no babysitters, while you go out to try and get the next meal to feed the family. Incredibly, incredibly difficult. And I think us humans often forget how easy our lives are compared to the wild animals. All the assistance and aid we get from doctors and babysitters and general security that we can provide to our youngsters. Well, at least hopefully some of us can, or some of us will be able to in the future. Let's move back a little bit now and see if we can't get ahead into a slightly better spot there. There we go. Ah, Marianne, it's time to get a little photo with Karula in the background. I don't know how we're going to work this out, Nicki. It's not going to be easy. More? Hello? She's too, Nicki doesn't like the lights apparently.
There you go.
Oh, well done. You see, Marianne, it's difficult with Karula behind all those bushes. You're not going to be able to see her if Nicki's focused on me. But we tried to get that screenshot opportunity with me and my ex-girlfriend over here before Nicki came along. Ruined everything for Karula and I. Shame, look at how heavily she's panting. Trying her best to keep cool. Hello again to Kat, and I hope all is well in Florida. I've spent a short portion of my life there in Fort Lauderdale, scrubbing decks of yachts. It was most fun when I was 18. You would like to know if I've ever seen a leopard kill? Yes, I've seen a few. The first kill I actually ever saw in the wild was a leopard, and the only kill that I've ever managed to share with you here on SafariLIVE is with this very leopard we're looking at now. She caught and killed a baby impala, who she had actually orphaned. She had caught its mother the night before, and the poor baby impala started calling desperately, hoping that its mother would return its calls, and that alerted Karula to the little lamb's presence. But I think it's the best thing that could have happened to that poor little lamb, because it was obviously going to be suffering immensely without its mother.
On the opening title sequence.
Ah, there we go. It's the kill that's captured on the opening title sequence, Kat. Thank you, Nicki. Are you going to get up, Karula? What's all this yawning about? I'm getting ready for her to move. Just a slight reposition, it looks like. Because she is no longer in our view now, I'm going to move back a bit. Taxon's just arrived in the sighting as well with his guests. Wonder if this might not work next. It's as good as it's going to get for now, sadly. Hello to Isabella, who's just 5 years old, and you would like to know if Karula misses her cubs while she is away from them. And I'm sure she does, Isabella. I'm sure she's constantly thinking about them, thinking, when should I go back? When do they need their next meal? I definitely think she does have them at the top of her mind. Nicki's just huffing and puffing now because the smell of the kudu kill is wafting directly down into us, and it does not smell very tasty. It will, of course, be quite tasty for Karula, because the more mature it becomes, the softer it will become and the easier for her to feed on. But I can assure you it is not a pleasant smell, although the wind is thankfully wafting. And it's temporarily not wafting towards us. Well, it sounds like there's another vehicle arriving here, so what we're going to do is make our way out and give them a better option to view, and that way we'll share the sighting with them and make our way back here a little bit later. Station approaching this Karula sighting. If you come up onto the banker, you'll get some better views. You won't be able to get a view from down there, and I'll make space for you. You should find an access road just further ahead of you. You'll see the tracks leaving the drainage. Okay.
Is she around here?
Yeah, affirmative. From where you saw me, she was just 10 meters off to the right of my vehicle. No problems. I'll make space and leave Taxon here as well. Okay. Well, very good. Obviously, we'd love to spend the whole afternoon here, but we do need to share, and everything happens for a reason, so we'll go and find some other animals and come back to Karula, hopefully, when she's a little bit more active. Shame, it appears like Jamie's vehicle's not doing the best regarding signal. It's recently been off at the health spa, and although the engine may be running perfectly now, some of the technical side that gets the broadcast out to you is not. So that's why you haven't seen her for a few moments, but she is in search of signal along with other things. Never did I think in my guiding career that I'd have to worry about searching for signal during a game drive, but that is certainly a price worth having to pay for being involved in this wonderful live safari experience with more people on Earth at safari together at any given time. There's no one else doing this. We are part of a revolution, the safari revolution. Hello to B. Wilson, and thank you so much to all of you who are sharing your memories that we have all shared together with one another. B. Wilson remembers my very first drive, and it was probably, you couldn't have asked for a better way to start off. I got called by Peter Pretorius, who had found a wildebeest that had just started giving birth, and he very kindly brought the vehicle back, got me into it, and said, "Go on, it's time to start your SafariLIVE career with the wildebeest that's about to give birth," which was very kind of him, and it was a very memorable way to start. It was the first kill that the first birth that I'd ever seen. Interestingly, though, what you wouldn't have known about, and what I've never told you, is that the plan was to head out at, call it 7:30. So Peter was going to do half the drive, and then I was going to do the second half. So I looked at my watch, and it was like 5 to 7. I still had 35 minutes to go, and I thought, okay, well, I need a visit to the lavatorium. And there I was in the lavatorium doing lavatorium things, and I just heard somebody screaming, "Scott, Peter's here, it's time to go." There goes a vervet monkey clambering up this tree. Let's see if it stops in a spot where we can see it. Or is it going to hide out of view? Oh, it looks like there's some more coming. Nix is already on the ones that are on their way here. So, oh, watch this. It's going to jump up onto the tree there. Bump. And I think it's decided to clamber up. But, oh, there it goes. Well done, Nix. Nix is making this look a lot easier than it is. I think she is a natural camera lady, considering this is only her third time behind the weapon. I think she is using it incredibly well. How beautiful is this ginormous jackalberry tree, where the monkeys have disappeared into. Let me see if I can't get another gap of them somewhere here. Oh. It's going to be tricky. They're sneaky customers, these vervet monkeys. And Andreen, I'm glad you agree with me that Nicki is indeed a natural camera lady. Have I got you in a gap there, Nix? I don't necessarily think so.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, well done. Peekaboo. Oh, what you snacking on? You sucking on a little seed there.
Good afternoon.
Yummy.
This is a routine update.
It's not uncommon for them to kind of hide and just keep an eye on you peeking around the corner. I'm sure there's more than just the two that we saw disappear up into this tree. The rest of the troop could be elsewhere. Okay, very good. So now, to give you guys an idea of how far Karula did move the cubs, I mean a minimum, from the moment we've left that kill, we've been driving directly south, and we're probably going to have moved about a quarter of a mile by the time we get to our southern boundary. I'll say at least a quarter of a mile from the kill directly south. And that is where she was seen crossing. She probably walked down this riverbed that's flowing below us here. And who knows how far she took them into the next property. Have a look here, Nix. We got you. Your friends weren't as obliging as you. Nicki's keeping you guys in suspense there with a delayed focus. That's a new technique we're trying here.
Sorry.
Hello, you. Look at how awesome this is. You can, oh. Oh, no ways, Nix. I'm gonna have to creep forward a little bit. Take a look at the ones below it on the next branch down, Nix. Below. Look at that one sleeping like a leopard. It is chilling out. Not a worry in the world. Oh, it looks like it just got up there. But it was lying down like a leopard earlier. So this looks like the rest of the troop. Got a slightly better view of this one as well. This one's mouth is full. Its cheeks aren't supposed to look like that. It has stuffed its cheeks absolutely full of some kind of food that it's ever so slowly chewing on. So there we go. You saw seed fall out its mouth. Now keep watching. It's just going to keep doing that. What is it you're feeding on? It could be the fruits from this tree, the jackalberry tree or ebony tree, but I can't be certain. Oh, Nicki just did a little focus pull there onto the other monkey in the background. We sadly don't get to spend as much time as we would like to with our primate cousins. And it was really wonderful to see that one lounging about in the tree there, and also to see these others nibbling on whatever fruit they've jammed full into their jaws. Okay, well, we're going to probably push on now. I'm thinking of maybe slipping onto our eastern boundary and then shooting up to the Buffalo's Hook waterhole to see what's going on there before making our way back to Karula. And the good news is Jamie has found you some other animals that she would like to show you.
I had some signal. I also had some nyala to show you, but unfortunately, while Scott has found leopards and monkeys and all manner of fascinating things to show you, Wildy and myself have found 3 nyala that are now gone. So we've done exceptionally well for this afternoon's work. Their fluffy tails disappearing into the bush. Let's see if we can try and get another view, but I don't think so, unfortunately. it's just one of those afternoons. I'm also making my way back towards Djuma. There, see, I promise there's an nyala in there. There's an ear. There's one eye. Definitely our sighting of the day. What do you think, Wooly?
Yeah, well.
Award-winning.
We can go back home now.
We can go home now, Wooly says. So yes, there's 3 female nyala hiding in there, and while I've been watching them, and I think I'm actually going to continue because I don't think our view is going to get any better than that. While we continue, I've just been thinking about, oh boy, here we go, Wendy. She does sound like she's struggling, but I think it's actually okay. I think Wendy's absolutely fine. But yes, while I was driving Arethusa and looking desperately around for some signal and some animals, I was thinking about my first memory of meeting Scott. Now, it was back in the day when I came across for the job interview. It was before Steph started at WildEarth as the operations manager. So I think at that point, Scott was in charge of organizing my arrival. And he phoned me and gave me the most confusing, I think officially, and I've been directed to a lot of places, he gave me the most confusing directions I have ever been given in my entire life to come and find Gowrie Gate and to find Djuma. And I remember being completely and utterly terrified and intimidated by this whole prospect. And then I met him and Nicki very briefly just before my interview, and then they rushed off to go on leave. Now, my initial introduction to Scott was very brief. Let me just pull over. This is good news. I might be able to find out. I think the guys have found Shadow. I think I heard something like that on the Game Drive channel. I just want to see if I can find out where exactly she is. How's it?
Hello?
Hello? Hi.
Hi, I'm Harry.
I'm Jamie. Nice to meet you, Harry.
Nice to meet you, James.
Do you know where they've got Shadow? Or how's it? Sorry. You no idea where they've... Okay. I'll see if I can find out for some of the guys. I can't hear on the Game Drive comms. Cool. Okay, no. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. New guide at Nkoro, whose name is Ari. So I think that they found Shadow somewhere around. It sounded to me like they'd found her on Simbambili, but it was a little bit difficult to hear the update. So I'll try and get hold of that information for you and keep you updated. Of course, all of us are now wondering, after Karula and her wondrous cubs, whether or not there's a possibility that Shadow has had cubs as well. As far as I know, nothing's been discussed amongst the guides, but it was definitely, or at least nothing's been
I'll tell James to show you.
Please do, Mr. Kidd and Mrs. Kidd, and the rest of you have a wonderful safari. Hello, everyone. We're just having a chat with Taxon's guests, and it turns out I know one of the couple's sons. So what a bizarre place and what a small world it is. Okay, guys, good luck and wonderful to meet you. Enjoy the rest of your safari.
And your new venture.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Make sure you log in and send through some questions. You get prioritized if you're an ex-guest. Cheers, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Wow, what a crazy coincidence. We just started chatting and they asked how they can find out more about these live safaris and where they can tune in. And then the one guest asked about James. He said, is James your competition? And I was like, well, not really. We're all part of the same team. And then it turns out that James and one of the couple on that vehicle's sons, a guy called Jay, another James, worked together at Londolozi. And I also know James, the other James, not the one we all know. So it was wonderful just to chat with them. Sorry about Jamie's signal. That's why you did get rushed back to us. and Jamie's regaling you guys with her first memories of Djuma. And mix quickly. Have you got it? Look at this. This is the best view ever of an African green pigeon. Look at how smart the colors are on this bird. And their Afrikaans or Dutch name, Papegaai Duif, is a very wonderful and descriptive word meaning parrot dove, which describes it very well. It's a fruit eater, and they are usually very, very secretive. Look at the bright yellow legs, that big white eye, bit of pink on its beak, and certainly the best view that I've ever got of one of these birds with you. And that is the beauty, again, of being on these live safaris. You just don't know what you're going to see and when. And even though I've seen this bird countless times with you, this view is spectacular. Kindly being brought to you by Nicola Austin. Well done, Nicki. She's very focused now, making sure she doesn't lose focus. Oh, Janet in Baltimore, you would like to know about the bird feeder that I made last year, the nectar feeder. I made a video about it, which was probably the first mistake because I thought it was going to be far more popular amongst the birds of this area than it actually turned out to be. It was never visited. I did give up filling it up with my rooibos tea and sugar mix. That was the nectar concoction that I was making for them. And what I can tell you is that those nectar feeders do take time to grow on the birds. They don't understand exactly what they are initially, and I don't think I tried for long enough. But I will be taking it maybe on my future endeavors with me, and hopefully I will get it operational somewhere, and I'll be able to show you guys some videos of it working at a later stage. All of my kind gestures towards the birds of Djuma have failed, my nectar feeder being the first, and my very high-end luxury cavity in a tree, which was designed as a nest site for the cavity nesting birds. The only creature that's been seen in it so far is a squirrel, and it wasn't even by me. I think James Henry saw that. So at least something spent at least a few minutes within that cavity, but in general it hasn't been hugely successful. Great. Well, I'm so happy we got the view of that beautifully colored Papegaai Duif. They've got a wonderful, wonderful call, the African green pigeon. But I don't think it's going to make it with us so close by. Hello to Alan in New York, and thank you so much for getting a hold of us. You mentioned that you don't send through questions very often, and there's no problem with the silent safari ninja that simply enjoys being on the vehicle but not chatting too much, so no worries there. Thank you though for letting us know that the first question you did ever send through to SafariLIVE was answered by me, and just little comments like that it's made me so happy to know that. And I guess it's not just about the questions, then any kind of interaction you can let us know about is much appreciated. So thank you for that, Alan, and I hope all is well in New York. One thing I forgot to mention is that the last half an hour of the safari will be sat around a campfire. And really looking forward to that. We're going to be playing a few clips, some of which I have seen, others which I haven't. So I'm really excited to see those, obviously. And I would love you guys to all join in on that adventure. We have been a little bit lazy for various reasons. Maybe lazy is the wrong word because that's not entirely the case. But we've been a little bit maybe underprepared for the fireside chats, but we usually do them every Sunday night for the last half an hour of the safari. So for those of you who have only joined the SafariLIVE experience fairly recently, that may be something that changes going forward. Also, please don't forget to send through your questions that are going to be asked to Nicki. The next time you come back to us, you may be getting taken around on a wild safari by Nicola Austin herself, with me hanging on to the camera desperately.
Coming down this road, right here.
Just going to keep an ear to the Game Drive channel, just to make sure we don't miss any updates regarding Karula and what she's up to.
I think the rocket goes back and the road a little bit corner too much. And it comes from the east, it comes from that area. That to be
Okay, we shall be sending you back to Jamie Patterson for another update on her movements.
And unfortunately, my luck persists, it seems, on Arathusa. So far, I've seen probably about 3 impala and those 3 nyala. Every time I try and stop for a bird, it flies away. All the lizards are dashing away from me. I think it's time I go back and try my luck elsewhere. No signs so far of the Nkuhumas and no updates from any of the other guides as to their whereabouts, and no information yet on shadows. So as soon as I find out something about that, I promise I'll let you know. But that's interesting because there's buffalo walking quite far across in front of us. And it could well be the stragglers of one of the herds. Now, the reason I say that's interesting is this is exactly where the Nkuhumas or their tracks were last seen going into. And they could well be following behind that buffalo herd, and I think it's a good idea for us to follow up and find out where they're going. And one very confused warthog following behind them as well, apparently. We'll catch up with them on the other side. I just want to see what this impala's stopped for. She's listening. She was listening intently off to her right, our left. Does seem very nervous and very separate from the rest of the herd. I wonder what she's seen. No, she's relaxed again. Pays to be an attentive animal out here. Here the warthog families crossing the road. And I think they're on their way. I'm fairly certain they're on their way towards that mud wallow on Impala Plains, so we'll catch them there. And while we do that, while we loop around them, Jack was wondering whether or not we get any worm slugs in this area. And Jack, we do, absolutely. I think we've had a couple of really, really enjoyable boomslang sightings. I know at least one of those was on a walk. I can't remember which presenter it was with. Might have been, Brent definitely had one, and I think James might have as well. Fascinating, beautiful snakes, one of my favorites. Hello, gorgeous. Please stay. Hello, beautiful boy. This stunning male kudu. Sorry, Jack, I'll get back to your boomslang question. Definitely one of our more magnificent kudu bulls. I love the way they do that. They pick a tree to hide behind, like we can't see them that way. This is the one with the tightly coiled horns. We've seen him along with Zeus, the widespread horned kudu, on a fairly regular basis in this area. There's a group of about 5 of these males of a similar size. There's not much more that is as dignified as a kudu bull. Quite a stilted walk. I wonder if he's limping ever so slightly. It's one of those old stories about kudu. Whenever you stop to look at one kudu, you will see more. And there's one all the way at the back there. I don't know if you can see it, Vildy. There we go. Let's go see which one that is. I'm sure it's this group of 5 kudu bulls. Now, for those of you who pay a visit to the Great Kruger, or the Greater Kruger area, and you make a trip across to Skukuza, which is one of the largest, I think it is the largest camp in the Kruger area, there's an incredible bronze statue of 2 kudus fighting, stuck together. And it's actually not that uncommon for them when they do clash, for those twirled horns to catch each other. They quite often trap themselves that way. It can even lead to the death of the males concerned, or having a good scratch. Imagine having built-in back scratches like that. Very useful. Looks as though he wants to come this way, so we'll just let him come to us. The Sandparks emblem, that is the kudu head. And you can see why with this silhouette and with this level of dignity, they're one of the most striking antelope out here. Now, I discussed quite a bit this morning. I discussed about myself and Brent's trip to the Kruger. We actually saw the largest antelope species, which is a cousin of the kudu, the African eland. You forget, if you don't see those antelope for a while, you forget just how large they really are. He's stopped for a snack, so I think we can go forward. Luckily, we've got a really subtle approach. Try and get a really nice view of this particular male. As you can imagine, horns like that, when they are solid bone, are actually fairly dense and fairly heavy. And with that comes a very solid, sturdy neck, and then the ridge of fluff along the top and then down underneath the beard and below the neck. And Gerda was wondering what you call the hairs on the bottom of the neck. Would you call it a mane? What would we call it? And Gerda, actually, I'm not sure. They do have something of a dewlap. The male kudu have a dewlap, so a slight flap of skin underneath their neck that makes them look bigger and more intimidating. You can start to sort of see it just where his neck meets his shoulders. But what you would term the hair, I suppose you could call it a mane, or I've always thought of it as a beard, but maybe that's not entirely anatomically correct. And that ridge along the top combined with the hair at the bottom, is there to intimidate any rivals. It's not something you see on the females or the youngsters. It's only in male kudu to intimidate other males, make themselves look bigger and scarier. In very much the same way that nyala have taken that to an extreme in their fluffy displays of the dance that they do. Here's our other kudu. Are you going to get a fright, boy? Shall I just wait for you for a second? Let's see. It's just the two of them as far as I can tell. Our kudu are interesting in that they don't have any kind of set herd structure. So although they are sociable animals and sociable antelope, they don't necessarily move around in set groups. They quite happily move from in little bachelor herds or little herds of females and their youngsters, and then will one day just move off on their own, or groups will split and come and go. So when I said that there were 5 males, we usually see 5 males together in this group as a whole, but it seems as though the other 3 have decided to move on. It's okay, boy. He's not going to let me come any closer without scaring him. Look at that. They always look as though they're wearing face paint. Like it's some kind of sporting colors or emblems. And so far, in terms of the impact that the drought has been having, kudu have shown an amount of resilience. Being a browser in the middle of a drought has its definite advantages. Those horns are stunning. Definitely in my top list of the most attractive antelope species. One of the reasons he was so nervous as we came in is that he'd heard this group of impala wandering through. And it was just making him, he was aware of the noise, but he wasn't sure what it was. Now, we've always spoken about the fact that animals rely on their sense of smell and their sense of hearing over a sense of eyesight. I've completely changed my mind about that, because at this point I have seen what impala see and what they spot. It is next to impossible to be able to spot or to be able to sneak past impala without them spotting you. I was watching a cheetah in the Kruger Park try to approach and stalk an impala, and how on earth that impala saw her, and it was clearly sight. She was perfectly, the wind was perfectly in her favor. There was no way that they heard her or that they smelt her. You definitely don't want to mess with an or challenge an antelope's eyesight, because I think that they leave us in the dust when it comes to spotting movement. Now, I mentioned earlier about that the fact that we saw the kudu's larger cousin. Okay, boy. The eland, the largest antelope species in the world. And Valeria was wondering if the eland is the same size as the African elk. Sorry, not as the African elk. There's no such thing as an African elk, as an elk. And the answer is yes, they're very much roughly in the same region. I'm not sure of the exact weight of an elk, but an eland can weigh anywhere up to about sort of 900 to 1,000 kilograms, possibly even heavier. The largest one was about over a ton, so about 1.2 thousand kilograms, which is roughly equates to close to 2,000 pounds, so very, very heavy antelope. I'm not sure exactly how large or how heavy an elk can get, but it is roughly in the same ballpark in terms of shoulder height, as far as I know. Obviously, I'm working purely off what I know about them, rather than having ever actually seen them. But an eland is a very large animal. Try trying to get us a nice view. This should be quite a nice, at least nice light to view this kudu. Nibbling away. A really good question from Cindy, who's watching all the way in Florida. So Cindy's been counting kudu stripes and was wondering whether all kudu have 9 stripes on their backs or if it differs. And we chatted a little bit about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cindy, I've never ever looked or never actually counted the number of kudu stripes. We chatted this morning about the fact that both nyala and kudu, you can identify, if you want to, you can identify the individuals because each one has a slightly different arrangement of stripes. Now, I know for a fact that in nyala, they definitely have different amounts of stripes. Kudu, Cindy, my guess, my thought, if I'm thinking back about my different kudu sightings, it's not always 9 stripes. But now that you've asked me that, I realize that I've never actually checked. I've never double-checked to see if there's more or less than 9 stripes. I've never counted. It's one of the reasons why I love these sorts of questions, is they bring up topics and things to think about that we wouldn't necessarily have thought of ourselves. If we can catch up with these buffalo, since our kudu have moved into rather dense vegetation, let's see if they've decided to pop out. And while we do that, and while we go and follow up, I believe that Ranger Nicki Austin, has taken the driver's seat, so let's pop over there and find out what she has to tell you.
Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Nicki, and I'll do some more introductions soon, but look what we found. Some ellies. I can see 3 at the moment. How's the, I'm going in here, Scotty D.
That's good.
Just gonna try and get you guys a better visual. And in the shade, bonus. I'm learning in this drive that it's very warm outside of final control. And turn off.
Perfect.
I was hoping almost that this was going to be the halftail or the ellie with the chopped off trunk, but it looks like these 3 are of a different herd. Can't see anyone else. What would you say this is? A mother and 2 youngsters, Scotty?
Yeah, maybe the rest of the herd is further ahead of them. These are trailing at the back.
I'm not sure how good Scotty's audio is, but he's saying maybe there's more further up. So hello everyone, what a way to start. Some nice beautiful ellies. Getting my first question. Hello, Miss Jen in Dallas. You've asked me which is more difficult, working in final control, behind the camera, or now presenting. I wouldn't say I've done presenting just yet. I'm getting there. I think I'm starting to shake slightly. I don't know why. It's my last day and I just want to have some fun with you guys and finally meet all of you. But stop smiling. Scott's got a massive smile on his face.
Proud of you.
Thanks, Scott. I'm going to start the car. Miss Jen, right now, presenting is definitely the most nerve-wracking. Camera, for me, is super fun. I really enjoy it. Actually, what's the one thing I'm quite sad about is that I didn't get to do a little bit more camera during the drives. But you know, things just worked out that way, which is fine. Oh, Gosh, cars. Cool. Scott's already shouted at me for going too fast and him getting flung off the back, basically. So now I'm on my best behavior. I'm a little bit torn with what to do. Apparently Karula is up in the tree now. So I'm thinking we should make our way back there and check it out. And these Ellies are going into thick bush, and I think windy bashing on my first drive, well, I'm not too keen for that. So yeah.
Ranger Orsty.
Thank
Good
you.
call.
Thank you. But now I need to figure out where Karula actually is. But Jamie has some warthogs, so I will see you guys hopefully back with Karula in the kill in the tree. Enjoy!
That is a very strange experience to hear that Nicki is linking to me. I bet that was an interesting experience for her. Shame. I'm glad that that was something she got to do before they leave. Well, at least I've been proved right on one score, and that's that both the buffalo and the warthog have popped out exactly where I expected them to, in the mud wallows and Impala Road, and I think that those warthogs were actually hoping that they might get a chance to have a wallow. Unfortunately for them, the mud is already occupied. Buffalo utilizing the spa possibilities of the bush. And there's the mom and the two piglets. This is not the very, very sick warthog that we've been seeing recently. I was shocked when I saw some of your screenshots as to what that ill female is really looking like. I assume that it's the one around Twin Dams that we've seen on a fairly regular basis. And there's a second pig. Hello, warthog. Two females and their youngsters. It could be that the two piglets we've been seeing belong to one to each female, or one to two, or two to one of the females. Hard for us to tell exactly until we see them suckle. Oh, buffalo's up. Maybe they'll have a chance to go and enjoy some of the mud wallow. There you go, you can see that thick layer of glutinous mud stuck all around him. A nice way of patching up injuries, as well as keeping cool on this hot summer's day. I'm quite surprised by the temperatures this afternoon. Definitely warmer than I was expecting. Let's see if we can sneak a little bit closer to these two cute little warthogs. As I mentioned this morning, there's a noticeable difference in the behavior of the warthogs around cars. Oh, although I don't think we can push it much further. We might have to wait for them to come to us. But yes, there's been a noticeable difference in the way that warthogs are responding to vehicles. They were very, very skittish when I first started working here. And I think it's a combination of just getting used to the vehicles coming and going, as well as the drought. Ooh, Wendy, I've forgotten how to drive you. Every car has its idiosyncrasies. Here we go. Hello, Warty. It's okay. Two little piglets and their mom. Munching away. You could just start to see the beginnings of tusks poking through. These warthog youngsters are a couple of months old now, so they're starting to grow real tusks. Something is squeaking frantically. I don't think it's the piglets, though. It must be a bird hiding in one of the trees. Looks like two little females. They'll live together in their family groups with their mother and quite often an unrelated female, or an older female and her daughter. It seems as though Ranger Austin is on a serious form and has found an elephant, so let's pop over and have a look.
Hello everyone. We have just come across this beautiful Ellie bull, and he's actually opposite the bank of where Karula is in her kill. Karula's just jumped down, Gorge, and there's hyena. I just saw her jump out the tree. It's when the Ellie got the fright. Should I go around?
Yeah, maybe keep going forward. That's the big tree up there that she's just jumped
Yeah,
down.
up in this big tree. I just saw out the corner of my eye her jump down, and a hyena took off after her. There's a hyena. I can see one now. 2, hyena. How's that angle? Fine. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I'm forgetting to turn off the vehicle. Okay. Shame, man. So she's obviously just been chased out. She's got Ellie bulls, Karula, and hyena. That hyena doesn't look like any of the ones we know, I don't think. Can't see any notches in the ear from here. At first I thought it may be Corky.
Are you sure it was her that jumped out, Nix?
I'm pretty... Why, can you see her in the tree?
No. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't go up onto the bank and try and find her.
Yeah, 100%.
Ellie is still over there, but he's doing his own thing, so we'll leave him to it.
The reason why I think it was her is because I saw something almost... He's giving me a little head shake. I saw something flash, and then the hyena took off after her, so that would make sense in my mind. Okay, I'm just gonna go a little bit, hopefully picture's okay in here. This is my absolute favorite, by the way, guys. Riverbed cruises are the best. I love it, and it's not often a view we can give due to the signal. It's so frustrating for me in final control, but now I'm out here, so it's all perfect. Schmerz, final control. I hope the signal's okay. I hope everyone's still with us. Where should I go up, Scott?
Further forward.
Nice. I thought I would just be following birds and some canoe, you know, the general game. Now I'm getting a bit nervous. Gonna have to get my act together into... Guys, I can't even speak. Oh, as Scott says, squeeze tight, everybody. Safari Dean's just made a funny comment. How do I like these crazy FSC girls in my ear? It's not so bad. It's quite refreshing. It's nice to be on the other side for a change. Can't say anything bad now because Kirsty is listening, so far so good, Kirst. Okay. Now I just want to creep in here. The hyena is still lying down, so I'm just going to try to get around before you guys have a visual. Oh, mind that flying branch. I really hope it's hyenas we can ID. That'll be really interesting. Oh, gosh. Sorry, guys. Well, Karula is not in the tree anymore. Let me turn off the vehicle. And this hyena, I can see the Ellie. She's looking at the Ellie down there still. This hyena, actually, if you look at, sorry, Scott, when you come back to the hyena, look at the back of her back. It looks like in the corner there, I can see a scar. I don't know if this might be a scar-backed female.
Yeah, I can.
Can you see the scar there? It's just where my finger's pointing, where the skin's missing. All right. So I don't see Karula in the tree. I think we should go
South down Twin Dams.
South down to, exactly. Chris, can you go again with that question, please? I think it was Janet. Hello, Janet in Maryland. You are asking me, oh gosh, multitasking here. There we go. You're asking me what is my favorite animal to view in the bush. Everything's different, actually, you know. Like for me, I love leopard, I do. And I think I started here with quarantine and Kunuma and Karula and all these leopards. Sorry, my eye contact, I know it's important, but I'm just trying to keep a lookout for some spots. So I started off with all these leopards that I was trying to learn to ID in the control room. Obviously having the camera really helps. Do you think we should go this way? Hey? And even if I saw her run down here, no?
Yeah, wherever you're feeling lucky. Anyway.
You can go back that way. I'd rather take your advice. So yeah, Janet, leopards would be my favorite. But I think when you're actually in the vehicle, Ellies for me are the most heart rate racing experience. That for me, I think on camera you guys don't actually realize how massive they are. And when you're in the vehicle and not in final control room or watching from your screen, it's very different and they are huge. They are so huge. But I love them, they're awesome. So being out in the vehicle, definitely Ellies. But I think viewing behind the screen, leopards would be my best. So I hope that's, there she is. Well done, Scott, see? Shame, Karula.
Karula's now further south on Twin Dams Road, lying up on the road south of the
So there she is. Scott's just doing the game drive radio to update everyone. I'm not getting involved in that.
Copy, perfect.
Valerie, I think it was, you were asking about my first Ellie experience. I don't think I can remember my first one, but 100% I've had a few scary moments when a big bull comes up to the car. I'll never forget one with Scott on Twin Dams Road. Came super close, not as close as the one from the other day though. And then a wonderful experience that the crew actually experienced was driving back from Arathusa one evening, and we stopped on Triple M, that main road, and we were surrounded by a herd of Ellies. We turned off the cars, just the moonlight, and we could just hear them crunching and moving and see them actually because of the moon around us. So that definitely is one of my favorite times with Ellies in the nighttime, actually. How bizarre. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm glad we found her. How did you know she was down here, Scott? Did you see tracks?
No, I just had a feeling.
Well done. I didn't think she'd loop back this way around. Maybe it's the direction of her cubs?
Yeah, boy.
Okay. I see. She doesn't look... How's her belly looking to you? I think I've seen leopards fatter than she is, hey?
Yeah.
You can see her suckle marks now nicely. You can see the orange around them, her teats. Is that the right word? Teats? Nipples?
Yeah, I think synonymous.
And someone asked you a question earlier. I got a question about the white belly. Now's a great example for that. You can see how different it is to the top of her back. It definitely stands out. Hello, Chantal on YouTube. You'd like to know, or you said you've heard that Karula has a wow on her as a distinctive marking pattern, and that is correct. It's actually directly between her eyes, a little bit higher up than her eyes. If you were to look, maybe if you log on to Twitter, I'm sure people can put up some screenshots. And just above here, you have to be a little bit creative, but there is a definite W, little O, and another W between her eyes that say wow. So yeah, that's her markings. I don't even know her spot pattern, actually. For me, with ironing leopards, it's something strange. I don't go on the spots. It's just how mainly their eyes. Like Mvula has those droopy, beautiful blue eyes. Quarantine has those dark eyes. He's got a dark face. Obviously, the sizes help to tell immediately if it's female or male. Karula, to be honest, again, it's the eyes for me. I can't even tell. Maybe you can see a side of the W's from this angle, but we'd probably have to be a bit closer. Can we go a bit closer? Can I roll, Scotty D? Yay, guys. James Richard, I know you were saying yesterday. We were lucky to have her for my last drive in Final Control directing. But I didn't expect this. Okay, let's look for the wow. So directly in between her eyes is semi-aligned, but it's not that one. It's just above that. It's almost the second row of spots. That's where you'll make out a wow. Okay, now she's getting up. Be quite interesting if we drive past there a little bit later once she moves a bit further, just to check where she was lying. Is she going to scent mark?
Ooh, Ranger Horsty.
There we go. That's right, Karula. You tell everyone who's queen here. Okay.
Keep going on the road.
I just want to see if you could look there. Can you see where she can been lying? All prints and everything. Okay.
A little bit more.
Sorry, my head's in the way. Okay. Hello, Karula. This is such a beautiful view. We're almost level with her. White tip under the tail. The rosettes, not spots. Ooh, check all the dust from her sneeze. Shame, man. Hello, Andreen on Twitter, I think. Andreen would like to know how much knowledge I had for the bush before I came here. Actually, no, I didn't I love the bush, I always have, and I've been fortunate enough to go on a few adventures with the family. But maybe 3 or 4 times before this, before I came to the bush. And I also have a friend who has, her dad's one of the landowners for Londolozi, actually. And yeah, so I've been lucky enough to go to Londolozi with her. That was twice, I think, in high school. But it wasn't so much learning that, it was more just the experience. But yeah, I've actually learned from Scott, Brent, James, and now Jamie as well. So it's actually only really been this year, to be honest. Take my foot off the brake. I think I'm going to roll backwards. So let me just put it into gear. Oh, okay, I'll just keep my foot on the brake. So yeah, Yeah, Andreen, it's mainly been this last year at WildEarth, sitting behind the director's seat, listening, learning from all the guys. That's really my only knowledge. And that's why I was like, it'd be quite fun to come out here today and test it out and see what it's like. Probably should have done a practice round or two. But it's been great so far.
You nailed the scent mark.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Hey, yeah. How are you? Shame. Hello, Raisa. You say that I should have done this much sooner, and it's fun to see me. Well, I wish I could see all of you guys. I see all your tweets and emails and comments, and I basically guess we follow your conversations half of the time. And I feel like I know half of you as well. But thank you for the compliments, and I'm so glad that I'm eventually doing this, even if it is, I guess, on the last day. She's still panting. How long will those hyenas wait under there for now? Oh, where's she going?
I think for quite a while.
Is it? Another scent mark?
They are professionals at waiting for leopards to finish their business.
That was awesome, right towards us. Okay. Well, I'm just walking directly behind those bushes. Let's just follow her slowly, guys. Oh, and I'm lying down. Get in a bit angle. That okay for you? One thing I must say, I cannot believe she has 2 cubs and we are now leaving. Oh my Lord. That has been quite a tough pill to swallow. I would love, as Scott, as you all know, goes on and on about leopard cubs, how much he'd love to see them and watch them grow up. And now she has 2, so I'm really hoping these little guys will... Ooh.
Took her by surprise.
Yeah. Oh. Jamie, whilst Karula takes her toilet break, Jamie has some dancing nyalas for you all, so go hop onto a vehicle and we'll see you soon.
From what I can hear, Nicki's doing a fantastic job. Luckily, after our conversation about the kudu, we've got some nyala bulls putting on the exact display I was hoping that they would. The one that we're looking at the moment, not quite fully into this whole dancing idea, but definitely fluffed himself up in response to the arrival of the male on the right. He's also looking a little bit fluffed up as well in response to fairly equal-sized bulls. No, they don't seem to be too keen on really challenging each other. The most interesting part of this dynamic is that there's actually a third male. He's quite hidden away, but he didn't go for any kind of displays or puffing himself up. He just straight up charged the other bull. Interesting little dynamic at play here between these 3 nyala males. Well, we were off to such a promising start, but it seems as though everybody's relaxed a little bit. And the bulls have decided to move off with relatively little fuss. Let's see if this happens again as the nyala bull approaches the first one. He's looking at him with a certain reticence. And boys, are you going to continue your dance, or are you done for the day? Maybe it's just a little bit too hot. Not really worth the fight. There's no females in the area. Is he going to do anything? Nope. I'm just going to have some late lunch instead. right, well, I didn't want to take you away from Nicki for too long. I was hoping they were going to put on a bit more of a show, but it seems as though that's not in their schedule for this afternoon. So while we head out in search of other things, we're going to send you back over to Ranger Austin and her Karula sighting.
Hello guys, I've just done a small little loop ahead of her, and now I'm trying to figure out where... Oh, there she is. She's going down there.
Reverse back to where we were, maybe.
Cool. We're just trying to get you a good angle of her walking towards us. Our boundary is coming up, so I'm guessing she's heading back in the direction of her cubs. Maybe she's had enough of this hyena and does not want to risk it. Oh. Okay. Here she comes. I'll stop here. Oh, wrong way, sorry. Sorry. Oh, she's got a little bit of slobber there. Just walking in front of the vehicle. I never thought I'd be doing this, guys. How awesome. So cool. Oh. Can't hear anything. You can see her walking along that prominent game path. I'm just going to roll forward, Scotty.
Maybe keep going all the way around onto the dam wall.
Okay. Oh, another scent mark. She's marking quite regularly. Okay, guys, I'm just going to do another loop around. Pity there's no water in here for her to drink. Or is there? I don't think there is. Hey, no. Try Ferrari Safari. This is where the monkeys were earlier. I wonder if they're still here. They're not alarm calling, so they might have moved off. Do you reckon I go a little bit forward, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little gap after this next bush where they can go and park down by the...
Over here on the right?
Yeah, straight in this kind there.
Let's see. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool. Just gonna let go of the brake. There you go. Oh, awesome. She's looking back in the direction of where her kill is. It's quite far away now. She's covered some distance, I guess. Maybe she can hear things we can't.
She's heading on exactly the same route where she was seen crossing south out of Juma this morning.
Really?
And she obviously has dropped off her cubs, and that's where she's obviously planning on heading back to.
Imagine we saw her crossing here with 2 little fur balls. That would be incredible. But I'm glad they're safe and away from that area. As we saw, it was getting a little bit chaotic there. And I can definitely tell you that it's starting to smell in that area. It's quite something getting a whiff of that kudu earlier. leopard crossing in front over what used to be a water hole. It's now a mud patch, or not even, a sand patch. It's completely bone dry.
Not far from right up there. Okay,
Okay. Is it cooler there? Again, you can see clearly her nipple marks. So now she's laid down at probably about, how many meters would you say the boundary is?
150 meters.
And do you know where the cubs are? How far she took them into the property?
How far south, but we certainly won't be able to get anywhere near them. And
Yeah.
even if we could, we would probably leave, well, we would definitely leave her be. We simply don't know enough about the cubs, where they're currently being kept, to take any chances in trying to view them.
Oh, those are the monkeys.
I think it is the monkeys, some youngsters that have seen her.
There we go. I don't know if you guys can hear, but those monkeys have only seen her now. Whilst Karula lies here, we're just going to send you to Jamie, see what she's got on her vehicle.
Again, don't want to take you away from Nicki's Karula sighting, but I did just want to show you this journey of giraffe slowly wandering away in the African sunset light. Beautiful sight. There's one straggling individual. Let's just try and get a quick view of him before they all disappear. And then I'm going to race off to set up for a fireside chat. Scott and Nicki's farewell fireside chat. Oh, he's gonna go drink. Let's see if we can get around quickly. I think that giraffe's gonna go and have a quick drink. Entertaining than watching them do the splits to try and reach down to water. Oh, we're gonna get there in time. It's always a very, very quick process, a giraffe drink. They don't like being down with their heads facing downwards. They find it a nerve-wracking experience. They find it very, very nerve-wracking. First of all, they're incredibly vulnerable, more so than they might be with their heads up. But also because they are so perfectly adapted to getting blood flow right up to their brains against gravity that they've got very complex valve systems. And if they have their head down for too long, they actually start to get very lightheaded and can even, possibly even faint from the lack of oxygen to the brain. So if you watch a giraffe drinking, you'll find that it never really drinks for longer than 30 seconds at a time before it has to lift its head. Beautiful dark-colored female. She's torn between having a drink and following the rest of the herd. Here we go. Come on, girl, it's okay. See how nervous she is, keeping an eye on everything that's happening, making sure that there's no predators around before she puts her head down. Come on, girl. It's all right. There's nothing here, I promise. There she goes. Nope. Decided against the idea of stopping to have a drink. So in that case, since she's not going to lean forward, I'm going to race off to go and set up fireside chat. And in the meantime, let's find out what Karula is up to and who happens to be in the driver's seat this time.
So, welcome back everyone, and we've switched back to our initial roles. Nicki's now behind the camera and I am behind the steering wheel. We are going to have one last view of Karula coming straight past us, and she is about to cross south out of Djuma over an invisible boundary where animals are free to roam and whereas humans are not, for very good reason, but we're not going to go into that now. Let's just enjoy these last views as she heads back to her cubs. Now, I'm guessing that she would have left them for roughly about, call it 12 hours. She was seen very early this morning, crossing south over this boundary. We don't know how far south of the boundary she deposited those young little cubs. But she is heading back to them, and she'll probably return back to her kill later on this evening. There she goes. Goodbye, Karula, and I don't think I'm going to see you again for quite some time, so sad moments as she disappears. We will be able to get you a few more views though. I'm just going to swivel one last time. We should be able to get her drifting down this road. Look, he's going to... There we go. The monkeys are still shouting at her, even though she's probably 300-400 meters away from them now. They can still see her. Here comes another scent mark. And who knows how far her territory does stretch into this property to the south of us, but she's a big wise lady, Karula, and she's been around the block, and she's got quite a large property for herself at the moment. What an action-packed afternoon. As soon as Nicki got behind the wheel, things started to really heat up. A herd of ellies, then an ellie bull, then Karula came flying out the tree past the hyena. Sadly, we didn't see that, but Nicki got a glimpse of it, and since then it's been non-stop action. I think she's hoping for a little bit of water in a little puddle there. I'm not sure if she's going to get lucky. No, shame, Karula. No more water in that little mud wallow. And what an awesome scene this is as she wanders off back to two, I'm sure, what are incredibly cute little fur balls. They'll probably be about the size of a domestic cat at their current age. At 6 weeks, yeah, they're probably the size of your average domestic cat. And that's where she's heading off to now. And thankfully for you guys, I'm sure in the next few weeks you will get some views of those cubs. So that's something really, really exciting to look forward to. But today has been awesome, and we couldn't have asked for a better send-off from the Queen of Djuma. Goodbye, Karula. Okay. Let's go and see if we can show you those monkeys which are still alarm calling. Beard, you would like to know how to say cool in one of the local South African languages called Afrikaans, and it is actually sweet, not cool, but it can be used for cool, certainly, and it's lekker. L-E-K-K-E-R, and that was a lekker sighting. A very, very lekker sighting.
Oh, Brady.
Look, he spotted a little...
And fly away.
To the right a little bit.
Oh.
A little red-backed shrike, and it's got something wrong with its head. What is going on with your feather dew? I'm not sure what that could be, but that is not how a red-backed shrike... It's the first
It's an Indian redback shrike.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a mohawk going there. Interesting. Okay, so about 25 minutes or so left until the fireside chat that we are really looking forward to. So make sure you cancel any prior arrangements so that you can be there. That would be greatly appreciated. Ooh. Hello, Gracie. And I really loved your outfit that you wore to our tea party yesterday, so thank you for getting so dressed up. James made sure he showed me that, so thank you. Oh, here's a monkey here. Gracie, you mentioned that we probably should have invited Karula to the tea party that we had, because queens like tea and parties, and you are right, we probably should have, but I think with her little cubs, she's so busy at the moment, she probably would have had to tell us that she can only join us in a few months' time. But I do like the way you're thinking. Don't worry, monkeys. You can relax now. As you can tell, they have stopped alarm calling. Usually when they are alarm calling, they're right at the top of the tree so that they can see whatever it is that they are shouting at. This youngster's obviously feeling safe and has come down a little bit. Now, I'm going to ask Nicki to zoom out quickly, and I want you to all take a very close look at this tree, because you are going to get to see it later on, and it's going to be wonderful to piece together the sighting that we had in this very area. Now, we've had the monkey here. There's going to be something that you notice about this tree later on with the clip that we watch at the fireside chat. You're also going to notice that there will be some water in the waterhole, which Karula went and lay in. So it's all very, very applicable to something we're going to be seeing later. This exact area we're in now. And it's been so awesome building up memories over the year that we've been going on safari together on all these different roads. I'm sure a lot of you will always have something to remember the various areas by. Now I've got a few reasons to remember this area right now, the sighting we just had, and one that you're going to see a little bit later. That was hugely, hugely exciting. Well, Christian and Dallas, you've also reminded me of another memory that we've shared, and it's also from the same waterhole. It's dry now. I'm just going to show you guys now the view from afar. So take a look at that. It's that dried up dark soil that you can see in the center of your screen there. A few months ago, that was not full of water, but there was quite a lot of water in it, and within the water was catfish. And James and I both had a once-off fishing competition. No hooks, no line, no rod. Your bare hands only. And Christian, that was an incredibly fun experiment, and one that I'm glad we all got to share together. Sadly, though, you did not see the fish that I caught, and I promise you I did. It just slipped out of my hands before you came back to me. Shame Nicki's having some trouble with the camera, so just give us a second, just hold it in the right spot there. Nicki's turned the bolts for the fluid head about 1 million revolutions in the wrong direction until it eventually came off.
Terrible. I couldn't get the dam in shot.
Okay, you might want to level it again now yourself. Okay. There we go. A minor glitch. Okay. Let's pop in and see if those hyena are still waiting patiently at the kill, which I'm sure they are. Although, only time will tell. What would be interesting is to know when exactly is she going to return to this kill after nursing the cubs, and whether she'll be there tomorrow morning. I wonder. There's certainly large amounts of meat left there for her to feed on. Let's see if we can't fulfill Nicki's plans from earlier to try and show you her tracks where she lay down, which we should be able to do very easily, actually. Awesome, Nix. Good idea. Okay. So you can see a few little scuff marks, and if we start maybe up there, Nix. Here we can see, I don't know if you're in focus at the moment. It's difficult with this flat light. Here, the tracks, you can start seeing the tracks there. Toes in the front, pad at the back, and then if you keep coming down, Nix, you'll see where she eventually lay down in this area over here. You can see quite a large scuff. That's probably from where her tail was, swishing the sand. And obviously, as she got up, she would have left a few more pug marks and then continued along. Here's the last track here heading towards us. Well done. So, Samantha, you're wondering about my buffalo thorn attack of my t-shirts. Well, my t-shirts had a big hole in the back, and James is very excitedly getting a hold of the final control room on channel 2, which is my channel, which you shouldn't be on, which is somewhat distracting to me. But what I can assure you is that James, who is going to be hosting the fireside chat at the moment, or not at the moment, a bit later, is in high spirits, and he's just apologized to me for clogging the radio waves with some excited banter. He was actually speaking to Kirsty fluently in Shangaan, which she wouldn't have understood a word of. Okay, well, the ripe smell of maturing kudu flesh is now upon my nostrils. We're in luck, though, because it looks like the hyena are still here. Going to be the best view we have for now. There's not too much to see of the kill up in the tree from this angle. Ooh, what has happened to you? You look like you've been in the wars. How is it that you've got blood on your head? Your ears are looking very tatty. Can't really see whether she's got that scar on her back. The other angle we had earlier did indicate like she did have a big scar on her back, but she's looks like a big old lady. The other one, oh, interesting. There is a steppe eagle up in the tree, right at the top of your screen there, next. There we go. Can you believe it? Look at those long stovepipe leggings. This is a very good characteristic that it is in fact a steppe eagle. Next, you can maybe also pop an ND filter down. We probably don't need that last one anymore. There we go. There it goes. And you sneaky little thing, you're hopping around, snacking on Karula's food while she's away, but that is the benefit of being able to fly, unlike these poor hyena who are stuck at the bottom of the tree. I wonder how long the steppe eagle's been lurking here for, knowing that there's a whole bunch of food that it can feed on. But it's moved off. There's a portion of the kill you can make out vaguely there that Nicki's zooming in on now. You just see a lighter shade in the center of your screen. Those are the legs. It looks like the hind quarters of the young kudu. And then at the base of the tree, there's a slightly younger hyena. Look at the difference between the two. The one, you clearly see the spots, you clearly see the fur. That's typical of a young hyena. And a slightly older hyena in the foreground. Very, very different scenario. Looks like that youngster's got itself into quite a comfy position there. Look at how its back legs are positioned. I think its back right leg may have pins and needles, though, when it is time to get up. What you can also see, which is quite a unique angle, is its claws sticking out at the end of its toes. And these are clearly left in the tracks on the ground, whereas the tracks of Karula we're just looking at now will lack those claw marks, as they will only protract those claws when they need to latch onto something, either prey or a tree that they're climbing. So you guys are in for a long wait. Karula has just crossed south out of Djuma, and I'm forecasting that you'll be at least 3 or 4 hours minimum before she returns. I wonder where she is now, whether she's got to those cubs yet, whether she's called them out of their hiding place and they've come bundling out, desperate to see her, desperate to have some more milk. All moments that I'm sure you will be able to share in the future with James and Brent and Jamie, as well as Steph. I'm sure he's going to be also taking a few more drives now. Wonderful. Well, because we are almost 99% certain that nothing else is going to happen here, we're probably going to just keep going, start making our way a little bit closer towards the fireside chat. I mean, the one thing that could happen now, but I don't foresee it happening, is that another leopard could come in onto the scene. If it smelt this kill, they are opportunistic. Leopards will scavenge. If Tingana was anywhere near here, he would certainly cash in on the opportunity. He's the most likely candidate. Wouldn't be likely to find a female in this area because this is Karula's turf. And it is also Tingana's turf. Okay, we're going to leave these two sleepy hyena. Good luck, guys. I do not envy you. You are going to have to display some remarkable patience in order to get a few morsels of that kudu. Marvelous evening, and the relief once the sun has dipped below the horizon is quite something. It is a very, very soothing temperature now, whereas when we headed out initially it was blisteringly hot. See if we can get that go-away bird next. It's at the top of this marula tree. And it's calling. It's one of my favorite calls. Quang! Oh, well done, Nix. Great work there. And at least you got to see it, and see it call, and see it fly all at the same time.
I don't know how much it was flying.
No, you got it. You did well. I was watching your work through the little monitor here. The joy about the sun going down is it tends to mean that the flies also tend to become slightly less active, although there still are a couple buzzing around me. And yeah, there's one on my right ear now buzzing around. I don't know if it's still there. My worst fly episode ever was filming Steph on a bushwalk, and I had my earpiece in my one ear like now, and my other ear was unprotected. And we were filming a sequence live to Nat Geo TV, and there was a fly in my ear buzzing, and I was having to hold the shots. It was quite a test of my bravery, and I thought I did well. And since then it's been fairly easy to deal with the ones now like this one here chilling on my face. But if there's 3 or 4 of them that simultaneously do their little moonwalk, then that causes a little bit of a shudder of the nervous system. Donna in South Carolina, thank you very, very much for reminding me about my one and only major crash whilst taking you guys on a live safari. And we were trying to get a view of a lilac-breasted roller, for those of you who weren't with us, and I was peering up into a tree, not looking where I was going, and as I looked forward, we were moving too quickly, and this big marula tree, a big, ginormous tree, was directly slap bang right in front of us. And
I don't think you even looked forward. I think you just...
yeah, Nicki says, yeah, I didn't even look forward. I think I realized that it was there once we crashed into it. And Donna, that was absolutely hilarious. So thank you for reminding me of that day. So many happy memories we've shared together. And so many of them have been documented, which is wonderful. It's not only that we've got this wonderful memory that we've shared together, but if you want to relive that moment with a little bit of snooping around, it won't be difficult to find, I guess. So sharing and documenting the adventures of SafariLIVE is, or has been, a remarkable opportunity to be involved in, and I am hugely grateful for that. It's also been wonderful to watch the safari family grow over the year that I've been here and get to know new names and faces and get to see people develop into seasoned safari goers. An experience that cannot be reenacted anywhere else on the planet. It's here or nowhere. And that I'm truly, truly grateful for, as we should all be. Many people don't know about this, which is the sad thing. But I know many of you are safari disciples that are spreading the word, and we thank you for that. As I will be doing, wherever I end up and wherever Nicki ends up, we'll continue to tell people to get their acts together and jump on board. At the treehouse waterhole now. It was interesting to see how much moisture is back in or still left in here. But it doesn't look like too much. It really has dried up quite quickly. Shame, a tiny little puddle for the animals. That'll still be useful for the animals that wallow in the mud, but I'm not sure if that's going to be good for drinking. So the warthogs and buffalo are going to enjoy that little pond. And not much else. Happy memories of a lot of sightings of Kunyuma, a young male leopard who very often we used to find up around, there's a few more tiny little wallows up there. We very often found up lying at the water's edge. The water's edge used to go all the way up, and this whole area here used to be full of water. Other special memories, again, that I've just been reminded of. Thanks, Marilyn. You've loved the scorpion sightings that we've shared, and especially those with the UV torch. And it is one of my favorite things to show people, so I'm glad it is one of the favorite things that you remember seeing and doing with me. Only once did we have the fortunate opportunity to have one that was moving about, and... Okay. Let me turn around, Nix. Nicky's seen some pretty clouds that she would like to show you, so I'm just going to get into a good spot for that. So, Marilyn, yes, the one sighting where I didn't manage to actually get one in my hand, it was moving from A to B, and we knew it was a friendly species, not very aggressive, that you can literally just pick up by the sting, plonk on your hand and let them relax, and well, they do relax, they're not very aggressive. So I did have one in the paw for one sighting, but the rest were just in trees, which was still beautiful. Okay, here we go, Nicki. Nicki's going to take on a little bit of a pink cloud bonanza. Wonderful. Look at that. And we were spoilt with an incredible sunrise this morning, and now this beautiful, beautiful sunset with bright pink clouds. Magical. Thanks, Nix. Good initiative.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the good news is that it sounds like the fireside chat is all up and ready to receive us, and we're only a couple of minutes away, so we're going to continue making our way on there. We don't want to be late for this very important function. And just a reminder for any of you who may have just logged in, this is my final SafariLIVE adventure with all of you. So if it's your first time joining, all I can recommend is that you keep tuning in and get to know the other presenters and get to know this experience while I'm gone. But because it is my last night, we are going to be doing a fireside chat, which is basically just a chat around a campfire. And we're going to look through a few clips of the past and moments that I've shared with you guys over the year, and also chats and answer some of your questions and just have a little bit of a send-off around the campfire. So really looking forward to that, and you don't have to go anywhere. We're going to take you right to that spot right now and jump off the vehicle and sit around the campfire. Unless, of course, we bump into something on the way there, which is possible. It'll be a bit of a catch-22. Imagine if we bumped into Tingana now, and we had the fireside chat to go to. Decisions. Or who knows, maybe, if we're very lucky, a leopard will merely join us at the fireside chat. It won't be the first time that happens, and it was very early in my SafariLIVE career. I've probably only been here 2 weeks by then, I think, when Hayden was sitting at the fireside chat waiting for Peter to come and join him, but Peter was a little bit delayed because he was following a male leopard called Kunuma, the same leopard I was actually talking about that we've found a lot of times at this waterhole behind us, Treehouse Waterhole. And you wouldn't believe that the leopard actually climbed into a marula tree directly behind where Hayden was sitting. And you could see the campfire, Hayden, and the leopard all in one shot. Fascinating. So it has happened in the past. I fear that it probably won't happen ever again. But it just goes to show that anything can happen whilst on safari. Well, we haven't bumped into Tingana, but you would have noticed we have bumped into some ellies. And we'll just very slowly coast past this lady and her youngster. Hello, you two. I hope that lots of rain falls and that you've got lots of vegetation to feed on in the coming months. Looks like you're enjoying a big, juicy mouthful there, so not too bad. Okay, great. Well, like I said, we don't want to be late for our date at the campfire. It sounds like you guys are going to head across there now, and we'll either see you a little bit later, or we'll meet you there.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this soporific and sad fireside chat.
Hi.
Hello.
Very sad.
Yes, very sad. And of course, today, the sadness because Scott and Nicki are leaving us. Now, that is a distressing thing for anybody to hear, but we know that they are going on to, hopefully, some exciting adventures around the world, possibly up into the magnificent continent of Africa. Before they get here, Jamie would like to relate a story of the first time she met Scott on the telephone.
Well, I was chatting a bit about this on Drive this afternoon, but it was the very first conversation I ever had with Scott. It was prior to Steph's arrival as the ops manager, as the operations manager. So Scott was in charge of getting me to Djuma, and the fire is blinding me, so I am, no, we'll call it with tears of sadness.
Tears of sadness,
Tears of
yes.
sadness. But Scott was in charge of getting me across to Djuma for my job interview. And I spoke to him on the phone, and I must say, in my entire life, I don't think I've ever been given worse directions to a place.
How long did it take you?
Well, in the end, actually, I ended up following Brent in from Hoedspruit. But if I hadn't, I actually might not even be here. If that fortuitous circumstance had not unfolded.
Thank goodness you are here.
Thank goodness.
Yes. Now, Scott is arriving from Buffelshoek Dam, not Buffelshoek Dam, the Treehouse Dam, which is over there. I do not see his lights. So I'm going to tell you about the first time that I met Scott Dyson, and that was when he was on the rugby field, aged, 14 at the time. I was aged 22. That gives you an idea of our age gap. Yes, in fact, that's exactly what it was. And I was his rugby coach. Now, he was the number 8. I'm not sure how familiar any of you are with rugby, but he was bigger than me even back then. And I remember one day we sometimes used to play with the boys during practices. And I remember Dyson once was thrown the ball, and I, being his coach, was on the other side, and I was kind of helping out on that side. And he was running down the field towards me, ball in hand, and he wasn't going to pass it. He was going to take me on. And life for me at that point froze, because he was larger than me even then. And I thought to myself, how is it that I can continue coaching these boys if a 14-year-old runs over the top of me and scores a try? Mercifully, at the very last minute, he dropped the ball, and I was able to excuse myself the ignominy of being run over by a 14-year-old as a 22-year-old. Now, I mean, I'm not a large man now. I was even less large when I was 22. So that's the first time I met Scott. And then I think we both met Nicki here, didn't we?
Yes. No, actually, I've encountered Nicki. Nicki and I were in the same year at school, different schools. So I've encountered Nicki on and off, never really knew her that well. She's actually very good friends of a close friend of mine in Cape Town. Yeah. So I've met Nicki on and off. It took us a while to get to that realization because we hadn't seen each other in years. But once we did, then we worked out that that was the case. It's tears of sadness.
Misery. And then the first time I met Nicki, of course, was vocally. Orally, she spoke in my ear. I was out on drive, and she arrived back in the director's chair, and I'd never seen this person before. And suddenly this slightly sultry, very attractive voice came into my ear, and the peace of the wilderness was momentarily forgotten as the sound of femininity filled my brain, and I felt a great deal of, well, I wouldn't say, but perhaps some slight jealousy for Scott Dyson, of course. Then I re-met Scott, of course, and realized that he was even bigger than he was when I first met him, and that in thinking of Nicki in those terms ever again would probably result in a physical injury. So I didn't think about her at all like that ever again. Yes. Now, they have just arrived. Come on now. Get on with it. We're about to play your
Scott,
clip.
Run.
They've just arrived, and how marvellous was it to see Nicola Austin, on camera, brilliant green pigeon work, I thought, today. She had an incredible focus onto the green pigeon, that was very good. And then, of course, brilliant to have her in the actual presenting seat. Marvellous.
I hear she did an amazing job. I could hear a little bit coming through the radio, and it sounded fantastic.
I heard her present some elephants, actually, yes. She didn't actually drive into the bush after them. She then went to look at Karula, which I don't know if she found, because we came out here. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, Scotty.
Dyson.
Thank you very much.
Afghan.
The man who gave me the nickname.
Hello, James.
Hello.
Can I squeeze in between?
Please,
Thank you.
Marvellous. Now, without further ado, I think we are, we're probably running slightly short on time. Shall we go forward with your highlight? Would you like to introduce?
An incredible sighting. The first one that you are going to watch is one from the most recent Big Cat Week. Obviously, the Big Cat Weeks are incredibly exciting and probably an opportunity for a lot of you to actually realize that SafariLIVE exists and then continue to follow us on the internet thereafter. And obviously, we've got a lot of pressure during the TV broadcasts, and we need to find animals. And on this day, I was lucky enough to be on bushwalk and find a wonderful, wonderful animal. Take a closer look. Can you believe it? We found a leopard. I wasn't imagining things. And it looks to me like it's mvula. Absolutely insane. We can just enjoy the fact that we're viewing a leopard on foot in Africa live. It couldn't be any better. Just moments ago we heard some kudu alarm calling, and isn't it wonderful how by listening to the signs of the bush and to the other animals in this area, they can help us to find what we're looking for. I can hear Pete's vehicle, which is good news. You guys are about to get some great close-up views.
Oh, there it is. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Looks like a male. Just first sort of look at him in terms of size. Guys, let's show you Scott and them as well on the walk. Brilliant, that's where they are. That's where they are. There's the leopard. Amazing work, both in terms of finding this and also being able to take it there on foot. Brilliant.
Well, here we are then.
That was an incredible sighting.
As you can tell, we got incredibly, incredibly lucky on that fine day. And it was actually Jeandre, the cameraman, who spotted the leopard. We had heard some kudu alarm calling and then moved close into that area, really not expecting to find a male leopard, but we got incredibly fortunate, and a lot of you were there for that magical moment, which again is what makes it. It wouldn't be the same if we were alone.
Absolutely
whilst
not.
All these wonderful events were unfolding ahead in front of us.
Just to remind you, please do send through any questions you have for Scott, and a little bit latterly Nicki. They'd be more than happy to answer them. Well, Scott certainly will. Nicki doesn't know how soon she's going to be in front of the camera.
Look at how emotional these two are getting.
I know.
Now my first tear is beginning to fall. But sadly, it is as a result of the smoke from the fire.
No, it's not.
From our emotions just yet. But we've at least got an excuse either way.
It's sadness.
Could you please outline, perhaps, just a little bit on what you prefer to do, walking or driving?
Prefer to walk or to drive? A tricky question, James, and one that I would like to sit on the fence with. I would ideally love to every morning start my day on a bushwalk, and then every afternoon go and enjoy the fruits and spoils of the tireless walk and tracking that you will do on the bushwalk, and then go and enjoy a leopard or a lion that you may have found, and then you can take photographs, get a lot closer to them with the cameras. So get to understand the animals better from the vehicle and get better insights into the animals' lives from a vehicle, but more of an experience and more of an adventure being on foot in the morning. So,
cool.
Half and half.
Now, before we take this question, I'm going to ask Nicola to come through. No, Brenty, you can wait 1 second. Nicola, would you come through? Because we've got a question for both of you from Johannesburg. If you would sit between us here, that would be
I don't want to be in this
you
area.
have to. Just come through. Right, that's Nicola, everybody. Well, you now know that, of course, because she's been presenting up a storm. Question from Tara Dales in Johannesburg.
Hey,
Tara. From both of you, what your highlights have been while you've been here? Other than, obviously, each other.
Animal highlights.
Firstly, I'm so happy to hear that Tara's watching. That is
I know,
amazing.
it's amazing.
You have been very much missed, my girl. For those of you who don't know, Tara was directing with me, and she unfortunately left us in December, so we haven't seen her for a while, but thanks for watching, T-Dog. My sighting is one that we picked out today, actually. One that really stood out for me is one of my first times I got on the back of a vehicle. It was actually Scott and Brent presenting at the same time. The one car caught the light. You know how the vehicle story goes. And we were following mating leopards, which Brent had been tracking for about 5 days and hadn't got a visual of yet. And found them. We said, we can't do a fireside chat, one of these things, we have to go on the vehicle. So everyone piled on the vehicle and we went out and we followed these 2 leopards. Then Karula came on the scene, then lions and elephants, but there's a whole clip waiting for you to see that. But that was definitely a highlight for me, and first time being out on the vehicle really during a show and experiencing all of that and trying to pretend I wasn't there. It was quite terrifying, but good.
Well, let's have a look at that clip and then we'll get back to Scott's answer.
Karula coming up behind us, following this mating pair.
This is incredible, Brett.
That's amazing. This is very exciting. That's Karula. Yeah, I'm just hearing there's a lion here as well.
Well, there we go. Now there's a lion in the mix.
You can see the lioness just popping her head over the edge. So apparently there's also an elephant coming to drink at the dam.
Listen to how credible that is. And
oh, it looks like the leopard spotted the lion. And there they go. We've got lions roaring on the road next to us. We've got charging? I can't see. Absolute pandemonium. We've got lion scent marking in front of us. We've got a leopard in the tree above us. There's 2 leopards in the tree, actually. Well, I think all our heart rates are only coming down now. We had those elephants trumpeting behind us. We had the lions roaring next to us. We had leopards leaping in trees. From all of us here at WildEarth, from Romeo and Nicki, who's sitting behind us, Wium in FC, thank you very, very much. It's been a wonderful Easter Sunday. I've had an absolutely fantastic time. And I can't wait to get up in the morning to do it all again.
it was one to remember.
Adios.
Well, now you know what Nicki was talking about, and also what I was talking about a little bit earlier. The chaos that unfolded at Twin Dams that evening was something that I don't think any of us have managed to share. Something quite like that. 2 big cats in one sighting. It was the first time that we had that, I think, since any of us had joined SafariLIVE. It was also the first time that we had leopards mating. Not that we actually got to see them mating that night. I'm just looking across to Mr. Leo Smith, who's going to be joining us very shortly.
We'll just get him to join us now, otherwise he'll lurk.
He's come back from leave. He's sacrificing his time away just to be here.
And a bit of a problem.
I guess he does have good reason to be here. Not just me, there's Jamie as well. He injured his hamstring today, so he's not going to be as agile as you know him. Brent, welcome.
Thank you.
And what an awesome sighting, and I'm happy that I got to share the spoils of all your hard work.
I know you're blaming the smoke, but you're going to make me cry.
Oh, Brent.
Okay. Just quickly before we carry on, Nicki, you said the vehicle caught fire as they do and glossed over that. Brent, would you like to take us through that?
Well, there was a cameraman that some of you will know was Romeo. Better known, what's his real name? Jason. And he was sitting there, he said, something smells funny. I was like, no, stop you're being paranoid. And then all of a sudden smoke started billowing out of Wendy. This is the first time that Wendy caught fire. And so it was a Sunday, and we had spent many hours, as Nicki said, trying to find these mating leopards. I'm not going to say why we didn't find them earlier, but it was an amazing thing, because Nicki was sitting on the back, and then we actually And I really, really loved that we actually got to present together. And I think it's the only time since I've been here that we've had two presenters in one vehicle.
Yeah.
And
Wium in the final control room.
Yes,
who
Wium
miraculously directed the show after
Wium also fixed the fire.
Yeah, fixed the vehicle, rewired the vehicle in record time.
We closed down the show, and Wium did what Wium does. He did Wildebeest.
Magic.
And yeah, and we got to go out on instead of a fireside chat, we went to go look at mating leopards.
Yeah.
And
who did not mate.
Yeah.
And
Annie, in British Columbia, you have a question for Nicki and Scott. Your most amusing moment in camp?
Sure. Too many with our crew. Really. Too many. A lot of one-liners from Wium, the same guy who managed to fix the vehicle and get it up and running so we could show you those leopards and lions and elephants at Twin Dams. He isn't a man of many words, but when he does speak, it is often profound and hugely hilarious.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
a lot of hilarious moments. Every time it's somebody's birthday, Tandi, sweet Tandi, our chef, has got the ability of somehow making sure that you don't have a cell phone in your pockets, and she douses you with a bucket of water. It's a local, I think, a Shangaan tradition, unless she's just making us feel that way, but she covers us with buckets of water on our birthdays, which is always hilarious. Steph was the most recent victim, which was hilarious.
Oh, I missed that.
I would pay
We're on
good money to
leave.
see that.
That is amazing, that. And I think it's, it's very nice to make sure that you don't have your cell phone. And somehow everyone knows it's going to happen, but it's always an astonishing surprise.
Yeah.
The best thing is when you get new crew members and you tell Zodwa and Tandi, it's their birthday.
And they get wet anyway.
Yeah, it's happened when it wasn't a birthday.
Yes.
For me, one of the hilarious times is generally when Graham and Emily and everyone come down. It's just the smoke.
I know.
They all come down. James gets out his guitar. I'm sure some of you have probably actually heard us on the Juma Waterhole. But songs come out and just sort of improvisations, and that's also a very good time for me when the whole crew gets very festive together, and it's hilarious, especially the James's songs. As you guys all know, have you brought your guitar?
Maybe.
Okay. Just checking.
And then James Richard would like to know if you could each sum up your time here at Safari Live in one word. What would it be, other than tears, of course?
Somebody wants to go with the nature side of things, and then, like refreshing is a good word for me. I was obviously a city girl, so this has opened my eyes to a lot of wonderful things, and just being out here with nothing, just landscape and our friends. So yeah, it's change of scenery for me, and it's been incredible. It's been very awesome.
That's more than one word.
Yeah, that's many words. I'm trying to think of a clip. Oh, that was me. I'll claim that.
Yeah, wait.
We all still there, though.
Wait.
Scott, you?
Well done, Brent.
Yeah. Thankfully, Jamie's sitting there because she's the lightest.
Said
Otherwise,
failure.
The only word, one word. Awesome, I guess. It really has. It has been awesome.
and that is your word.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is a word you've often heard me. It's my go-to word when anything ever gets exciting, and it's always varying degrees of exciting. Really, just the fact that so many people are in one place together at one time really is awesome. And then the memories and experiences that get shared during those times together are varying degrees thereof.
We have a little clip that Alan has put together for you. While we have a monitor there at the
This is
moment.
exciting.
I'm just going to turn the sound up,
Okay.
otherwise you won't hear it.
Okay, so none of us have seen this clip.
So,
I don't think. I know I haven't.
So we watch the monitors constantly, but I've now noticed Nicola Austin
All right.
leaning towards the monitor.
Play it.
Okay, Kirsty, deploy the clip.
We are ready to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Hi, I'm Scott Dyson from KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Come and join me on an endless safari. I love this place.
The very
situation this afternoon, and it's Nicola Austin on camera. Beautiful. Straight towards us. Look at this. This is incredible. Walking through the stick bush, and then all of a sudden, this pops out. Ah! Hello, everyone. How cool is this? Can you believe it? Hello, boy. What can you smell? I'm so tempted to put my hand out to you, but I'm not going to.
No. Well, I mean, it's pointless for me.
Oh, this is crazy. Look at this feather.
Okay, well then there's no point in doing it. So this until they fix the audio.
Oh, look at this.
Come on, Steve. Go take a life to take me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in the
Hello. Welcome back. Cool. Just take screenshots, lots of them, please. Look at this. Can you believe it? That was awesome, buddy.
How are you feeling? How cool is that?
Sorry, this isn't live, guys.
We're sorry this is live, everyone.
We can just enjoy the fact that we're viewing a leopard on foot in Africa live. It couldn't be any better.
As they now pick the nits and different extra parasites from Scott. Yes, it looks like Scott is the dominant male out of this little group.
Flutter away. There goes one line. Is playing.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Thank you very much.
Take 5, see you later.
There she is. Hey! Thanks, Austin. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Wow, that was awesome. So, to everyone involved in not only putting that together, but making those memories and sharing those memories. How cool was that? Hey?
It's just amazing, yeah.
Full circle. The first clip, I remember doing like a million takes trying to tell people what my name was and where I was from. I think it was on day 2 or 3 on arrival here in the Sabi Sands. We were actually staying in Manyaleti back then. And I just didn't have the know-how back then. And it's been wonderful to learn and be taught by the various presenters, Peter and Hayden, who welcomed me in, and all the cameramen who helped me in my infancy. And then to be involved with all the other presenters. James, or Brent was the first to join, which was a great pleasure because we were at the same school, so knew each other from before.
I wouldn't have been here without Scott.
Yeah. I remember the phone call. Brent phoned me saying, should I come through? So I was like, yes, of course. Like, unless you're going to the moon sometime soon, I'll get there. And then obviously I knew James from before, him being my rugby coach at school, and then knowing one another in the lodges in the Sabi Sands, and then Jamie as well. So it's been a great journey with the other presenters, as well as all the cameramen, old and new, the directors,
Graham and Emily, and all the other directors, Peter Brat, Eugene, the tech guys, Alex. It's just a long list of people that have made a huge impact on both of our lives and on the experience that we all get to share. And that's, I guess, a big thing to remember. There's a lot of people that you don't get to see that are hugely, hugely important in making what we do daily get out to you guys. So it's important that we remember
What
that.
do you think you're going to miss the most?
Taking the biggest safari on the planet. You know,
Cool.
there's no one else that does what we do or can do what we do and can enjoy what we do.
They can try.
People can try, but there's nobody that goes on as big a safari as we do on a daily basis. And to be able to connect and communicate and understand and hypothesize with so many different people from all around the world of all different ages is something I won't be able to do regardless of where we go in Africa thereafter. So that's going to be an impossible void to fill.
And for you, Nix?
Same thing. I mean, it's been surreal being in the control room, watching you guys, learning from all of you. It's been a privilege, as well as the cameramen. Me giving you the crit, and then I go out there today being like, oh my word, this is a lot harder. So everyone is so appreciated here. And yeah, thank you, the crew. Thank you to all the viewers, and thanks for all your kind words and all your emails and all your updates. You guys have such a huge impact on us, and it's very special, and we really appreciate all of you, so thank you.
Well, now here's possibly the most valuable gift the world has ever known, and that is a picture, of course, of the entire SafariLIVE crew. Which we would like
I'm very, very privileged to be able to hand this to you guys. And I'm getting a bit teary. I'm going to miss you guys so much. And of course, we chose the one with Scott being an idiot.
Yes! This is awesome.
And just note the highlight there of the picture is that Louise wasn't with us at the
That's
time.
awesome, but she's
She
still
has
there.
added herself. Well done, Louise. That's a good job.
Thank you very, very much. This is awesome.
And I think this was Gendre's brainchild, so well done, Gendry.
Thank you very much, everyone who was involved in this.
Oh, and there's
There's letters and messages everywhere.
thanks, guys.
We're not going to read those now. Because we don't have time, because as Dylan has just inquired, he'd like to know if there's a party later. Yes, there is going to be some sort of a farewell celebration a little bit later. So we'll be sure to let you know how that goes. Well, I guess whoever's out in the morning, James and Jamie, will let you know how that goes.
We shall not be filming that live. We'll only get you 1 or 2 snippets, photographs only.
Just before we sign off, we've only got about 2 minutes left. I'm going to ask you each to say something to Nicki and Scott. If you want to tell them to disappear into the night, that's fine, but maybe just a few words.
There's only one word you can use to describe Nicki and Scott, and I think I might be stealing it from people down the road. The Gorges. Gorge 1 and Gorge 2.
Explain that.
So Nicki and Scott refer to each other as Gorge, as in gorgeous. So it's Gorge 1 and Gorge 2. I'm not sure who's 1 and who's 2.
You know how
but
difficult
neither are we.
it was today on Scott. I kept going like, Scott, where should I go today?
Gorge 1 and Gorge 2 for me.
Cool. Jamie?
I just wanted to say, guys, thank you so much for the kindness that both of you showed me. Like, you were instrumental in making me feel at home. So thank you, and thank you for all of the help and instruction and teaching me how to do something I've never done in my entire life. I really appreciate it. We are going to miss you terribly.
Thanks, Jamil. You've been a legend, an absolute legend.
Thanks for the nickname, Scotty.
Just the one. I think for me, it's been I'm a little bit older than these guys. I know it doesn't look like that, of course, but I'm a little older.
The most athletic out of all of us.
And I came in on the back end of it was a fairly traumatic business breakup. It's a bit like going through a divorce, I suppose. And I came in and thought, well, I'll give this a little bit of a go and I'll see if it's any good. And here I was surrounded by this hodgepodge of eccentric people, many of whom would probably, and I include the cameraman here, who would never be around each other in a normal situation.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicki's, what, 15 years my junior, younger, I don't mean my junior at all, and Scott, 9 years, and I didn't think I would ever learn the most incredible things that I did from them. Scott, from a presenting point of view, from a naturalist point of view, going on a walk with Scott when we haven't been live has just been, I mean, I wish I'd taken a notebook a lot of the time. It's been just so very special. And from you, Nicki, your humour has just been a wonderful, wonderful light to what was a depressing time in my life. So thank you very, very much to both of you.
Thank you,
Enjoyed
James.
it greatly. Everybody, we have run out of time, so I'm going to give the last 2 words to you two.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Everyone involved from Graham and Emily, who started this many years ago, and to every other person in the SafariLIVE family all around the world. Thank you for all of your support, all of your questions, all of the fun moments that we've shared together. And it's not goodbye forever, it's just goodbye for now. And we'll definitely be able to keep in touch over the various platforms, and we'll be sure to let you know what happens, and we'll be sure to keep an eye on what's going on with the rest of this crew.
I promise not to bully James too much.
Cool.
But yes, thank you, and we will keep in touch as much as possible.
Good stuff. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at 05:30 for the Sunrise Safari. Sans, unfortunately, very sadly, Nicki and Scott, who are going off into Africa to explore the wonders of this great continent. Until then, bye-bye and good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.